Well, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to live day one coverage of the curtain raiser here on the 2024 season of the KLPGA. We're in what is usually sunny Singapore for the Hana Financial Group's Singapore Women's Open, where Park Ji-young looks to defend the title she won back in 2022. That, of course, being the first event of last year's season, being a wraparound calendar and all. But unfortunately, the skies have opened and, well, we are stuck in a weather delay here at the Tanah Country Club. It's heavy downpours and, unfortunately, electrical activities in the skies overhead the Tampines course. It's still a pretty warm 34 degrees Celsius. What breeze there is coming straight out of the north. And unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, no play at the moment at Tanah. All 108 players off the golf course and seeking refuge and shelter in the clubhouse. It's a par 72 that was redesigned a couple of years ago by Phil Jacobs. It's a stern test for the finest on the KLPGA Tour. Lee A1 seeks to start off her season how last year ended. But while we wait for hopefully some good news from the weather gods, let's have a look at some early action on the golf course. The Philippines' Rian Michaela Maliksi was going along nicely in the morning wave. That was a birdie at the 6th hole. Started on the back nine, 10 straight pars before blitzing off a couple of birdies. That got her to 3 under par. Park Min-ji, prolific winner on the KLPGA Tour, did have her struggles last year, but she was in fine fettle early doors. That a birdie at the par 3 4th. That took Min-ji to 2 under par at that point. Choi Ye-rim still seeking a breakthrough title on the KLPGA Tour. She's been close a number of times. This was a fine way to get her round underway. That's setting up a birdie 3 at her opening hole, playing in the company of one of the local standouts here in Singapore, Amanda Tan. Jun Yi-sung canning one from just off the edge of the green, the third player in that group. So Yi-sung, the former Lotte Open champion, getting her season off and running with a lovely birdie 3. But the big mover this morning was big hitting. Bang Shin-sil, second season on the KLPGA Tour. Wouldn't know it looking at the way she took apart the Tampines course this morning. Started on the back nine, did Shin-sil, but quickly started to pepper in some birdies. Turned in 31, 5 under par, and then would collect another couple of birdies on the way home. Hong Jung-min was a top 10 finisher last time out here in Singapore, but started her day with a rotten triple bogey 8 at the 10th. Did pick up a couple of birdies to try and salvage the situation, but over par here on day one. How about this lovely second shot there into the first hole? It's a par 4 with the driving range on the left and trouble down the right. And yes, a lovely early birdie there for Thailand's Jaravi Bunchan, playing on a sponsor's invite this week and certainly making the most of it when she was still out the golf course. Kim Min-ju, one of the lucky few players to be able to complete their opening rounds. Min-ju going off in the morning wave. That was a lovely birdie at the 18. Just one drop shot on the card of Kim Min-ju. She would sign for a round of 67. Par 4, 9, short little par 4. Come right back towards the clubhouse. Pin at ace cut just on that little back step. Past a slope, and that was very nicely managed indeed, leading to a birdie. Now, the defending champion, Park Ji-young, approach into the long, demanding par 4 seconds. So hard to get it to stop on that back section, but a lady who picked up 3 wins, including a breakthrough major title last year, making short work of that par 4. A birdie to take her up to 1 under par. And just as Ji Young was getting her day started, Bang Shin Sil was bringing the curtain down on a very productive day at the office. Then she turned in 31, picked up a birdie at 7. Good solid approach there to the 9th, and this left to right slider dropping in for a bogey-free opening round of 65 to set the pace here on Thursday in Singapore. That, of course, was some highlights from earlier in the day. Bang Shin Sil sitting very comfortably atop the leaderboard and safely in the clubhouse with an opening round of 65. Minju and Jae Young returning matching 67. So Yun Jung, well, she's still got a couple holes left to play. Play was interrupted about an hour ago due to inclement weather. Rian Michaela Maliksi going the best of the non-Korean starters, a 69 for the Filipino. Countrywoman Samantha Bruce, just with the par 5 18th to play. And Lee Ga-young will be finishing her opening round on the par 4 9th. Malaysia's Ashley Lau in the company of Ga-young. She too is 2 under par. Former Rookie of the Year winner Song Ga-eun, 1 under par round of 71. See there the name of Natakrita Vongtavila, twice a runner-up in the Women's Amateur Asia Pacific. Had a pretty poor start to her day, but she's battled back nicely. She's at 1 under with the 9th to play. And all these ladies, well, it's going to be a long wait and possibly an early alarm set tomorrow. Ma Da Som, Jaravi Bunchan, Jung Yun Ji, and former Women's Amateur Asia Pacific champion in Singapore at the Singapore Island Country Club, Isla Galitsky. They're all at 1 under par, as is Justice Bozio, who's 1 under through her first 2. But as things stand at the moment, unfortunately, we're in a weather delay here in the season opening event of the 2024 KLPGA Tour season. Fingers crossed, we see some golf action sooner rather than later. There we are on the east coast of Singapore, right by Changi Airport, and unfortunately, many dark clouds overhead. Rain, rain, go away. You see that storm cell. It's just moving in from the east. We've got another coming down from the north. Doesn't make for pretty reading, does it? This, of course, a 72-hole championship. Players just having to wait patiently in the clubhouse. Plenty to smile about, though, for Bang Shin Sil, winner of last year's E1 Charity Ladies Open. Great battle she had at the top of the Rookie of the Year points race with Hwang Yo-min and eventual winner Kim Min Byul. But her work is done for the day. 67 for her. For the afternoon starters, including your featured group, there you can see Park Ji-young and Lee Ae-won. The wait will go on to see if we can get any more golf up and running today. The meteorologists and our tournament directors will be keeping a close eye on the situation as it develops, but for the moment, we're stuck in a weather delay here at Tanah Merah. So we're being told that the next weather update announcement will come right around 3:30 local time. So 3:30 local time, they'll make an announcement to see if there'll be any further delays or we'll get back out on the course for day one action here in Singapore. But until then, why don't we go back and enjoy some action from earlier this morning at the Tampines course. That'll still be for par for Park Min-ji. Now, Lee So-young. Really one of those players that was adversely affected by the break during the COVID pandemic. Six-time winner coming into that abrupt halt, and unfortunately really struggled to find her feet in the 2 years that followed. Did have a nice campaign out in 2023 though, but she's 3 over the card, having started on the back nine today. Now, Park Do-young to get herself back to even par. Short birdie look here at the par 5 fifth. Downhill sliding from left to right. Just grabs enough for the cup. Well done. So, we know she's good at bouncing back. Pair of birdies against a pair of bogeys today. Do-young back to level pegging for the championship. Now Hong Jung-min, remember, took a absolutely rotten triple bogey 8 at her opening hole, the par 5 10th. So she's turned in 3 over par 39, second now into the first. That's just going to settle the wrong side of a little spine, but not bad with hybrid in hand. It's a big golf course, this Tanamera Country Club. Expect to see a lot of long irons and hybrids coming into the green. Not that it's going to bother Natakrita Vongtavilap though. Nicknamed Sim 300, 6 foot tall. Can certainly shift it a long way out there, and she's got a good pair of hands on her as well. Lovely speed there on the second hole, playing in the company of Park Min-ji. Kyung in the company of Hong Jung-min for these first 2 days. Coming out the left side of this fairway doesn't really give you the best angle. There's trouble right. Okay, well, she'll be able to get relief off that cart path, but it's going to be off a severe downhill line coming out of the rough to an elevated green. Bit of a miscue there from the two-time KLPGA champion. 2 courses here at the Tanamera Country Club. The Garden course just across the road hosted the first ever edition of the HSBC Women's World Championship. Recently concluded last week. Now staged at the Tanjong course at Sentosa Golf Club. This is the Tampines course. It's hosted a couple of big events as well. HSBC Women's World Championship, most recently Singapore International on the Asian Tour, and International Series Singapore, won by Spain's David Puig back in August. Park Gale had a great season last year on the KLPGA Tour. Arguably her best season since 2018, where she picked up her first KLPGA Tour title, and only KLPGA Tour title, I should say, at the Seokyung Network's Ladies Classic. She'll get things going shortly in the company of Kim Jae-hee and Princess Mary Superal of the Philippines. But first, up to last season's Rookie of the Year, Kim Min-byul. Birdie look for Kim at the second, not going to go. Gosh, she came close a bunch of times last year. Lost a couple of playoffs, one for the Korean Women's Open to Hong Ji-won. Da Som, the third player in that playoff. Also got bounced by Hwang Yo-min at the Daiwinia MBN Ladies Open. It was Hwang's first title. This par 3 6th In today's cut, 15 from the front, just 9 from the left edge. And Michaela Maliksi from the Philippines. Blind tee shot almost. You play up to this plateau green, but she's going to like it when she gets up there. That's a super shot there from Maliksi. Now Hyun Kyung. All sitting okay, but well, downhill lie is going to... this is coming out low, not what you want when you're playing to an elevated green. Oh, needs to settle, needs to settle. Okay. So she'll have that left for par. Okay, a lot of these runoffs at the Tampines course, if you're not spot on with your iron play or your approach play, you really have to expect that you're going to have some awkward pitch shots from around these greens. Now, Kim Jae-hee. Ready to get us underway in this afternoon wave. At the moment, three co-leaders, Park Bo-kyum, Kim Min-joo, and big hitting Bang Shin-sil, who is bogey-free for this opening round. Go back out to the par 3 fourth. One of several greens that were reconfigured and reshaped over the last 12 months. Still presents a real stern test for these players if you don't find the correct sections of this green. Two-time tour winner Han Jin-seon has, and well, she's got a decent look for birdie here at the par 3. That's going to fall off low, surely. No, just never quite had the steam on it. Both her wins coming at the High One Resorts Ladies Open. Successful defense of her title last year. And that is a view of the beautiful signature hole here at the Tampines course, the Island Green, par 3 16th. Well, Lee So-young smiling. Got a couple of smiles on the faces. Hong Ji-won as well. Perhaps good news. We might be able to get out the golf course and keep those fingers crossed. Play was called just over an hour and a half ago due to unsafe weather conditions, but if those pictures are to be believed, the sun's breaking through the clouds, the storm might have passed, and as long as there's no lightning overhead, we should be able to get round one back underway here at the Tampines course. You can see that very low-flying Boeing 777 Changi Airport, just a stone's throw away from this great Phil Jacobs layout. A weather delay at the moment, but the signs are good that perhaps might be able to get these ladies back out on the golf course. That'll be good news for the late starters this morning. Yonata Krita Vongtavilaps with just one hole left to play. Yep, see, we're on the sort of bottom right-hand corner of that map. It looks pretty clear to me, though I have to say it's a nasty little patch of rain looking like it's moving in from the west, and you certainly don't want the red spots. That's where the heaviest showers will be. But, well, that's good news. Got some player transports sitting out by the clubhouse, perhaps ready to shuttle the ladies back into position. What this weather delay or what this stoppage will mean is the course is going to be in slightly softer condition, so perhaps an opportunity for the afternoon starters should the rain continue to stay away. Slightly softer conditions and not too much breeze, perhaps someone can make a run at Bang Shin-sil's 7 under par target. Still looks a little touch and go to me, don't you think? But while we wait, keep those fingers crossed that we'll be able to resume play here on day one. Just a touch under 1.1 billion Korean won. Up for grabs in this first event of 30 this year on the KLPGA Tour. Head off to Blue Canyon and Phuket next week for the inaugural Blue Canyon Phuket Championship. Where are we going, says Park Ji-young. Are we going back out there, year one? We're keeping things nice and loose, and oh, why wouldn't you? Year one with over 1.4 billion won earned last season. Ji-young just under that, or barely under that, 998 million Korean won. 1 and 3 on the money list last season. Give us a wave, year one. Yeah, got something in your ear. I'll just fix that for you. It's a real camaraderie out here in the KLPGA Tour. Yes, you play for a lot of money week in, week out. You want to bank big checks and kiss championship trophies, but traveling with 100 of the same people week in, week out does form a bond like no other. And same could be said for any major golf tour. So while the players stay loose, we'll continue to keep our fingers crossed and eyes to the sky. Still no golf yet to be played on day one at Tanamera. While we wait, return to some action from earlier today. Going to be speedy just over the other side of that slope right there. It should start to work its way back right for Hong Jung-min. Just lacked a little conviction. Well, out to the tee at the first. Kim Jae-hee, Park Gaeol, Princess Mary Superal ready to get us underway for the afternoon stages of day one. Well, turns 23 on Sunday. Wouldn't she like to give herself a huge birthday present with a win here in Singapore's National Open? Splits the fairway there with her tee shot. Jae-hee. Now Princess Mary Superal from the Philippines. Remember that brilliant performance she put in at the Simone Asia Pacific Ladies Cup at the back end of 2022. Just want to start it right of that fairway trap on the left. Should kick down. Down it comes for Superal. "28 years old now, Gaeol has only ever lost her tour card once. That was the end of the 2021 season. And off the back of a very strong 2023 that saw her finish 26th on the money list. Did miss the cut in this championship last time out. Certainly looking to make amends with confidence restored here in 2024. So, your afternoon starters off and running. 108 players in the field this week. Now, So Young. Relatively slippery one from the backside of two. Coming downhill. Moving to her right. Stayed pretty straight on her. Certainly had us both fooled there. So she'll remain 3 over the card and 7 shots adrift of the quartet of leaders here in the early stages of play at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Maliksi brilliant tee shot into the 6. Really deserves a birdie 3. And a birdie 3 she will get. That's 3 on the bounce for Ariane Michaela Maliksi. Hyun Kyung for par, back at the 2nd. Year in, year out, one of the best putters on the KLPGA Tour, but you don't want to leave yourself too many 20-footers for par. Odds are you're not going to make your fair share of them, so she'll slip back to even. Yeah, to the unmistakable silhouette of Lee Ga-young. How popular was she when she picked up her breakthrough KLPGA Tour title at the Korea Championship by Tungbu Construction 2 seasons ago. She's next to the tee at the 4th, excuse me. And that's just going to funnel off the left-hand side of the green. You can see you get really severe mounding and contours out of the greens at the Tampines course. It's going to be a little tester for short game skills. Par 4 first. You see that driving range down the left and a penalty area that really does encroach into the right-hand side of the green. It's only about 3 paces off the right edge, so you get one just leaking a little right with too much cut spin. That ball's going to be hydrated. Super out. Looks to be a slight hanging lie here for Princess Mary. Not a bad thing with the hole cut in the back left section of the green. The balls above your feet does tend to promote a bit of a right to left movement. You can see lift clean in place in effect for the first 2 days here at the Tampines course. I have had a deluge of rain in the Lion City over the last week or two.
Attention everyone, for those of you who have got some more holes to play, we have got the all clear from the government NEA net service. So right now we have our referees and our course maintenance guys checking the course. At 3:45, go to the vans. Your front 9 vans is in front. Back 9, that means 10 to 18, is over the other side. Go to the vans in your groups, if possible, so that we can make sure the flags go in together. Okay? What we want to do is to target for tee off at 4 o'clock. Be in your positions by 4 o'clock. Thanks.
지금 정부로부터 안전 안내 문자를 받았기 때문에 지금 15시 45분에 지금 카트 또는 밴에 탑승을 해주시길 바랍니다. 그 아웃코스는 앞에 보이시는 곳에서 탑승하시면 되고요. 인코스는 이 대회 본부 뒤쪽에 있는 차량에 탑승하시면 됩니다. 3시 45분에 탑승을 하시고 저희가 희망하기로는 4시에 티업하는 것으로 지금 목적을 두고 있습니다. 이거는 다 보고 가야 되거든? 1, 2, 8, 9, 10 맞네요? 지금 1번 홀, 2번 홀, 8번 홀, 9번 홀, 10번 홀, 15번 홀, 18번 홀에서 오신 선수 캐디분들은 도보로 이동해 주시기 바랍니다. 다시 한번 안내드립니다. 1번 홀, 2번 홀, 8번 홀, 9번 홀, 10번 홀, 15번 홀, 18번 홀에서 오신 분들은 15시 45분에 도보로 각자 위치로 이동해 주시기 바랍니다.
So, get on your golf carts and head out the golf course. There is Justice Bozio, former Singapore national head coach Matt Ballard on the bag, or, well, on the push trolley, by the looks of things there, for the very talented Queenslander. Jung Min-ji also looking to get into position. She'll be on the par 3 4th, alongside Bunchant and Hwang Yo-min. So, looks like we are going to get a little bit more golf here on day 1. That's always good news. Although, how will this little weather delay have affected the afternoon starters, and more particularly some of these ladies who haven't even completed their rounds. Hong Jung-min, reigning Korea Women's Open champion. She's off to get back in position as well. Young Ji-won playing alongside Park Ju-young and Ma Da-som. Choi Yun-yu also trotting out there, as is Lee So-young, and saw that earlier. Did struggle a little bit in her opening round this morning. Still a little bit of golf left to play for her. But the signs are good. On your golf carts at 3:45, get back into position, and the hooter will blow at 4 o'clock to signal the resumption of play here on day one at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. So if you're just joining us here on day one at the Singapore Women's Open, where you been for the past 40 minutes? Unfortunately, you haven't missed very much. We have been in a weather delay since right around 2 o'clock local time here in Singapore. But the good news is the skies have cleared, lightning's moved on, and players are starting to make their way back out to the golf course, where we are anticipating a 4 p.m. local time restart. So the news is good here at the Tampines course. And again, full credit to the team at Tanah and the organizing committee, Patrick Faisal, Chu Tzu Huang, for the really good work that they've put in to set this great championship up, and also to make sure that players can be ferried out quickly, safely, and efficiently to resume action here on day one. It has been regarded as one of the premier clubs in the island, on the island country of Singapore for many years. Tanah Merah means red earth. I had to move quite a bit of earth to get everything set up for this week. The lady who was smiling the broadest last time the KLPGA Tour were in the Lion City, Park Ji-young, in company of Leo Won and Thailand's Patty Tavatanakit, highest ranked player in the Rolex Women's World Rankings in the field this week. They'll be on the par 3 fourth to restart their rounds, I should say. There you go. Partly cloudy now. Still a pretty balmy 31 degrees. It's sticky out there though. 65% humidity. Really does feel more like 85%, and it looks like that breeze is picking up just a bit. Still coming straight out of the north though. This is par 3 fourth, plays just under 170 yards. It's a green that's 50 paces deep, pins on 44, so right in that back section. Bang Shin Sil setting the target in the clubhouse. A delightful bogey-free round of 65 for Shin Sil. Sees her sit atop the board, 2 ahead of Kim Min Joo, Lee Jae-young and So Yun-jung, who has 2 holes left to play to complete her opening round. Strongest of the local contenders, Ko Sok Hui, even par round of 72 for the 34-year-old. See there, gazing back down from behind the green at the par 4-7, that hole in a pretty accessible spot. And it wouldn't be a KLPGA Tour event without some adorable tee markers. Surprised no one's tried to nick any one of those. Samantha Bruce marching back down the fairway to get back into position. Caddy Agus on the bag, normally loops for Max Lee Chia Po, Taiwanese star out on the Asian Tour. He'll be hopping up to Macau in a couple of days' time to join Max Lee at the Macau Golf Club, where International Series Macau will take place next week on the Asian Tour. Tell you what, it's a pretty strong field for that. 21 golfers from the Live Golf League signed up and have committed to play that, including the likes of Patrick Reed, Sergio Garcia and company. Certainly going to be a very exciting time with the second International Series event of the year just on the horizon. It's found playing golf in Singapore and this part of the world, sometimes the most uncomfortable conditions are just after a big rain delay. The course is saturated and then the sun comes out to play like it never left, and all that heat and steam start to come up from the ground. It's almost like being in a sauna. Certainly make for pretty sticky and sometimes unpleasant conditions. But hey, it's just what players have to get used to coming to this part of the world. Lee Jae-yong did say it in the post-round interview today that it's easy to lose concentration in this kind of heat and humidity. Certainly had her wits about her this morning, carding that 67 to leave her level second at this stage of the championship. Hydration, focus, and patience, key ingredients here if you want to prevail at this season opening event and the 2024 KLPGA Tour season. It looks like we're almost ready for the resumption of play here at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. It really was 2023 to remember for the then 20-year-old Leah Won, coming off Rookie of the Year honors in 2022. Started her year with a win on Jeju Island, then picked up another at the Doosan Weave Championship before claiming a breakthrough major title at the Height Jinro Championship at Blue Heron. And when you look at her results last year, just one cut missed in 29 starts, 1.4 billion Korean won earned. Alongside those 3 victories, she did have 4 runner-up finishes as well. Playoff loss to Park Min-ji at the Celtrion. Just getting dumped out at the Hanwha Classic. The KB Financial Group Star Championship to the lady in your foreground there, Park Ji-young as well, and a runner-up at the S-Oil Championship. Patty Tavatanakit, she was in the golfing doldrums for quite a number of years after winning Rookie of the Year on the LPGA Tour. Breakthrough LPGA Tour title at the ANA Inspiration, now known as the Chevrons. And well, she's going to be oozing with confidence coming into this week.
Financial group here in Singapore. I know they're trying to grow the game of golf in the Southeast and Asia Pacific. So it's an honor for me to represent one of the Asia Pacific countries and to be able to represent Hana Financial Group as well. Yeah, it's a very competitive tour. A lot of good players on this tour as well. The passion of the game, working hard, and just the mindset of always wanting to learn and grow. I feel like I get inspired every single week after someone perform well or it's just really competitive out on that tour. So I think a fellow Hana Financial Group player, Lydia Ko, has always been my idol, and she is such a great golfer. I have a lot of respect for her too. She's a very personable player, and I just always enjoy playing with her. Yeah, just continue to learn and grow. I always want to improve step by step with myself and my game, so just gonna focus on that. Hi, I'm Patty Tavatanakit. Thank you so much for supporting and watching me all along the way. 감사합니다. Bye-bye.
And really so good to see Patty stick around and play that Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open after going for 3 wins in a row last week at the HSBC Women's World Championship and the LPGA Tour on the island of Sentosa. 8 of the top 10 in the Rolex rankings were here last week, eventually won by Hannah Green. Patty Tavatanakit did have a rather rough opening round of 73, but certainly came good on Friday. Got herself back into contention, played some nice golf despite being, you can only imagine, absolutely exhausted after wins in Riyadh at the Aramco Ladies Invitational on the Ladies European Tour, and then the Honda LPGA Thailand for a second LPGA Tour title, having to birdie the 72nd hole to claim a victory in front of her adoring home fans at the Siam Country Club. A one-shot victory at that over Swiss player Alban Valenzuela. Well, Hooters out, but for good reason this time. Just about 4 minutes away from the resumption of play here in the opening round in Singapore. Tavatanakit, Park and Lee all be looking to make inroads into Bang Shin Sil's lead at 7 under par. These players just coming to the end of their opening rounds. Natakrita Vongtavila in the company of prodigious winner on the KLPGA Tour, Park Min-ji. Won the money title 2 years in a row. Didn't get it done in 2023 despite a couple of victories. Hong Ji-won and Nada Som, 2 of the 3 combatants in the playoff for the Korean Women's Open at Rainbow Hills last year, eventually won by Hong Ji-won, Da-som holding a 2-shot lead with 2 holes to play before bogeying the 71st and 72nd holes to get into that playoff, to fall into that playoff, I should say. Kim Min-bol birdieing the 18th to make it a 3-way playoff, and gosh, weren't we entertained at the National Championship of Korea. We'll be returning to Rainbow Hills in a couple of months' time, but this is the National Open of Singapore. The curtain raiser on your 30-event season in 2024 in the KLPGA Tour. Well, the work's done for Bang Shin-sil. Sit around and get her rest this afternoon. She'll be off late tomorrow. Teeing off in the morning. First round, she'll be off the late afternoon tomorrow. Fingers crossed we avoid any weather delays there. Jun Yi-sung just on her final hole. Final couple of holes, I should say. Park Ju-young, what a story she was last year. Picking up her first KLPGA Tour title in her 279th start. Missed a lot of the 2022 season, giving birth to her son, her first child. Came back and, well, got herself right back where she wanted to be, and back into the winner's circle for a first time in her career. But that is the lady that leads the way here on day one after a scintillating opening round of 65. Of course, they'll have to stick around. She's holed out, but her 2 playing partners haven't yet on their final hole. Ashley Lau from Malaysia, 2 under par, and Lee Ga-young of South Korea also on that 2 under par mark. Pair of them just sitting outside the top 10 in a share of 12th at the moment. There'll be a lot of attention on Lee Won this year, mark my words. Come off that great rookie campaign in 2022 as she ran away with the Rookie of the Year crown, and to follow that up by winning Player of the Year, the money list, the points list, 3 titles, including a major. There are 5 of them on the KLPGA Tour, first of which is going to be in just a couple of weeks' time. KLPGA Championship at Lakewood. Then we'll head over to the Korean Women's Open, the Hanwha Classic at Jade Palace, KB Financial Group Star Championship as well. Then we round things out at Blue Heron at the Height Jinro Championship, where Lee Won will defend. All the players are in position already. It's just gone 4 o'clock on my watch, so any moment now. There we go. We get there eventually. We'll get there in the end. There you go. Not the most convincing sounding hooter, but I'm sure everyone is delighted that we can finally get back underway here at the Tampines course. So back at the 4th green we go. This is match 25. Hwang Yo-min, runner-up on last year's Rookie of the Year points race, despite her playoff victory at the Daiwinia MBN Ladies Open. I always found it so hard to come back after a weather delay, after a stoppage of play, to a chip shot. And that certainly wasn't the easiest. So work to be done for Yo-min. Featured group this afternoon will be waiting back on the tee for Yo-min, Jaravi Bunchant and Jung Yoon-ji to get things sorted out on the green. It's a par 3 that can play almost 230 meters long for the professionals or the men, and you play at this club. And it's certainly no easy task. Now, Jaravi Bunchant just missing that little slope that would have taken this to the lower tier of the green where the hole's cut today. 24-year-old graduate of Duke. One event played this season, one top 10, a 9th at the Honda LPGA Thailand just a few weeks ago. Not stone dead yet for Bunchan. Picked up the game at the age of 6. Now, hopefully the final stroke in the round of Lee Gai-young, who's got this for a closing birdie in a round of 69. Well, worth the wait, you could say. Birdie finish for Lee Gai-young. Finally done with Thursday. Jung Yoon-ji, noted through the years what an amazing ball striker she is. Really is one of the premier iron players on the KLPGA Tour. And so long as that club in her hands right now cooperates, expect her to pick up at least one title this year. Just the one win for Yoon-ji back in 2022 at the E1 Charity Ladies Open. That came in a 5-way playoff. It's never had the conviction, did it? Settling for a par 3. Not really a bad thing at this 4th hole. It's one of those tough little par 3, so easy to rack up a number on. You can just see from that camera angle the contours and the slopes that are the primary defense of this green. Yeomin. Is this to clean up for her par? Really had a stellar amateur career. Did get to 3rd in the World Amateur Golf Rankings a couple of years ago. She was the low amateur at the Korean Women's Open. 4th place finish when Park Min-ji and Park Hyun-kyung had that terrific battle back in 2021. As for Park, what the girls are going to have to get used to is, even on putts inside of 6 feet, sometimes you have so much movement, so much break around the cups here. You really have to trust that read and put an aggressive stroke on it. Now Bunchan. Still a bit of work in this for Jaravi. Although her boyfriend, multiple Asian Tour winner Sadom Kaukenjana, is probably one of the best in the game with the putter. Sadom did actually caddy for Jaravi Bunchan at the Simone Ladies Asia Pacific Cup in December last year. Too much conviction. I'll tell you what, if you can get through a week at the Tampines course without a 3-putt, you are doing very well. I have to say, it's the primary defense of this golf course. These slopey surfaces. A bit of a clumsy 3-putt. Going to undo the good work at the first for Bunchan. Now, Tavatanakit. So that pin deep in that back left pocket of the green. Playing 154 meters, and understandably so. More bogeys than birdies. 4th hardest hole on the golf course, but if you can just throw it a little bit right of that pin, 10 paces short, there is a slope which sort of funnels the ball down a rather heavily taped right wrist here on Thursday. Hopefully that's not going to give Patty T too much trouble. There's that slope I was talking about. Should start to funnel. Just a little bit too much heat on it, but watch this come round. Yeah, excellent tee shot from Tavatanakit. There's going to be pressure when you start a tournament as one of the favourites for the title. You should be used to that by now. Now out to the 9th hole and last year's Rookie of the Year, Kim Min-bill. A frustrating start to 2024 for her. That'll make her feel a little better. She'll have that for a 74. Now, year one. Really one of the favourites every time she tees it up. Such was her dominant display over the last 24 months in South Korea. She got a good little kick. And this one is going to feed down very nicely as well. To be good and to be lucky. It's a pretty deadly combination. Head to the par 5 fifth. Don't need to hit driver here. There's a big canal that cuts through the middle of this hole, forcing these ladies to play it as a 3-shot par 5. So just a 3-wood 4 position for Yunji. See there on that little mini leaderboard, So Yun-jung's just picked up a birdie at the par 4 17th, so she's within one of Bang Shin-sil, the par 5 18th to come. Now, Park Ji-young. Two lovely tee shots by her playing partners already. That one not going to take the slope back like Tavatanakit's. It's okay though. So I'd much rather be long here on the 4th to that whole location than left of it. It does get dark in Singapore just around 7 o'clock, so these ladies have 3 hours to try to get 15 holes in. More than likely an early alarm clock to complete day 1 tomorrow morning as Jaravi Bunchan sends a 3-wood down. Par 5 fifth. Just missing the fairway. It's going to make the layup a little bit more awkward for the tie. Now Min-bill. This one's going to be coming downhill just off a slope at the back of this green. So we'll be speedy. Should want to drift to her right. Unfortunately, it's just been one of those days at the office for Kim Min-bill. Pretty disappointing opening round of 75. Look at this. Fair amount of swing in this one for Ma Da-som. Up ahead on the green at the par 5 fifth. It's always going to be low. Camera angles tend to flatten out topography quite a bit, I can promise you. That is a big old mound on the front right of the 5th green. Park Min-ji, the winningest player on the KLPGA Tour in the last decade. 16 titles. A couple of majors sprinkled in amongst that, but the critics will say she struggles with consistency. It's going to be a pretty ho-hum round of 72 to start her campaign in Singapore this week. Out to 4. Options here. You can elect to putt this, or chip it. Just take that sort of sticky fringe grass out of play. These paspalum surrounds at the Tampines course. Just look to land this on the downslope past the fringe, and everything will collect down to this ball when the hole's cut this afternoon. Dasson to stay in red figures. Yeah, well holds with authority as well. Good 2-putt. Tavatanakit, a lot of swing from her left for birdie at the par 3. Right across the face of the hole. A really good putt, but it stays above ground for Patty. Park Hyun Kyung just at the front of the par 5/8. Pretty level chip shot here. Expect her to get this one close 9 times out of 10, maybe even scare the hole. Oh, how about both? In you go for a birdie 4, and Park Hyun Kyung get herself back to 1 under. Those 3 straight bogeys to start her back 9. Really put the brakes on her round, but she's battling back nicely. Hopefully, year 1 would have learned something from Patty Tavatanakit's putt. This 2 for birdie. Carbon copy. It just illustrates the treachery of these greens at the Tampines course. Just got to be positive with your speed. They're not rolling overly quick. You can't have them too quick with the amount of slope that they present to the golfer. This will need to be started outside left edge. Slightly different angle, so it's a little straighter for Park Ji-young. And still, it's got to be hit with conviction. Okay, tidy up and down for the defending champion. Only has 2 wins, the KLPGA Tour, but they're both major titles. Hong Ji-won now at the tee and the par 3 6th. You see a lot of players do that throughout the course of the week. Elevated tabletop green. It doesn't play as long as it looks. So she'll be chipping from the back edge. For how that flag's fluttering, it's just playing downwind as well. A bit of a rotten start to the championship for Park Ju-young. Double bogey at the 2nd. Couple of bogeys sprinkled around that. She too sails it long at the 6th. Well, definitely not going to be a driver for Tavatanakit here at the 5th. An A380. Great spot for plane spotting if that's your thing. Tampines course here at Tanamera Country Club. But It's played at the easiest hole for this opening round. These girls are so good with wedge in hand, and it's a fairly friendly hole location in the front portion of this green. Just get your tee shot in play, lay it up to a good wedge yardage, and try and throw a dart at it. 252 yards to run out of fairway. Paddy does carry a 3-wood and a 5-wood. I imagine this is that 5-wood. Inch perfect there. Well, from the edge of the fairway, it's right around 260 yards to the front edge. Could she potentially have a crack at this green in two? We will see. Just going to be a smooth, chippy driver for Leah 1 here. Top 10 in driving stats, total driving on the KLPGA Tour last season. This club was a great asset for her. Continues to be a pretty good asset in 2024. Driver as well for Park Ji-young. So many of these ladies like to move the ball from right to left. That's a good view at what the players see. Ideally, you want to carry it over that left trap. It's about 200 yards to fly, but just look out a little bit right. So that clump of trees left of the right-hand trap, that's a good start line. Second best par 5 scoring average on the KLPGA Tour in 2023. So she knows how to play the long holes well. Now, bunkered at the 18th is So Yun Jung. It's coming towards the end of her round. Those cross bunkers about 70 yards short of the green. Looked like she was just outside of one of them, so a good break there, but you can get close to that pin on 18 today, particularly with wedge in hand. Bunkered ahead at the 5th is Hwang Yo-min, and it looks like she's on a slight upslope, which is good news. Just got to make sure you clear that lip in front of you. This one should have plenty of bite on it once it hits the green. Yeah, a bit like a police dog, that one. Excellent shot for the 20-year-old. Yunji from the right half of the fairway, that big slope, that mound on the front right section of the green is kind of going to be directly in her line, so we'll need to carry it past that with spin. You pitch on the downslope, it could shoot off towards the backside of this par 5 green. Yeah, good intelligent shot there from Yunji. Really great distance control with the short irons and wedges. So despite a 90-minute weather stoppage, play back underway here on day 1 in Singapore, and it's still Bang Shin-sil who looks down at the rest of the field after a delightful, blemish-free opening round of 65 at the 2024 Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Well, she's got the heavy artillery out, but still players on the green, so I think Paddy's just trying to smoke this up there as close as she can to this par 5 in 2. Really want to keep this a little bit left of center. Try to minimize the amount of that front slope you have to deal with if you do happen to push this right. Gosh, that is a good looking golf swing. It's good to see Paddy T playing well again. And wow, she has gotten it all the way onto the green. Certainly spooked Hwang Yo-min. What a shot from Patty Tavatanakit. My word above, does she realize that she's just pitched it on the front edge? I don't think she does. You know, somewhere in that front bunker is Soyeon Jung. Came up short with that approach. Not a ton of green to work with here. But softer conditions should help this one stick, and that's nicely played. Oh, hopefully that hasn't scared the living daylights out of Hwang Yo-min, who has this for birdie. Just giving that a good 4 feet of break from right to left. It's only about a 15, 18-foot putt. I tell you what, oh, that's gone sort of 90 degrees across the front of the cup. Great attempt from Hwang Yo-min. Just has to settle for that par 5. Well, this will definitely not scare the green because it's an iron and a layup for Park Ji-young. Having a gander here in my yardage book. I believe Paddy Tavatanakit carried that 3-wood almost 250 yards. That is a good hit. Now, Yunji. Got to start making putts of this range. Start to build that confidence up. Creates a lot of opportunities from right around 8 to 15 feet. And that'll go for Jung Yun-ji. Lovely birdie. So for a round of 66, Soyeon Jung. Just inside right half of the cup. Oh no. That's a real shame. Any golfer will tell you, don't care what that number in the box is at the end of your round. Always a little disappointed bogeying the last hole, particularly if it's a par 5, especially when you've had a bogey-free round of golf going, but still nothing to be ashamed of. It's a solid opening salvo here in Singapore. Park Ji-young, you can see just off the backside of that right bunker. That's when that big front shoulder of the green starts. So ideally you want to pitch this pin high just like Jung Yun-ji did. And this is when it's so important to try and lay up to a good number. Give yourself a nice full yardage. Make a good aggressive swing at the ball. Try and put maximum spin on it. Greens are softer, so they're a little more receptive. So what, she can play a par 5 well. Brilliant shot from Park Ji-young. Surely a birdie incoming for the 2022 champion. Yunji up the hill at the par 3 6th. Got to make sure you find that right half of the green. There's a big valley in the middle that collects balls that are pulled slightly. Just so hard to stop it in that back area, but it's not too bad there. Pretty makeable chip shot. Now year one coming from the right half of the fairway, and with this angle, that front shoulder definitely going to be in her way. Trying to land it on the top of it. Really has all the tools to be a world-class player. Not saying that she isn't year one, but she will only continue to get better as time goes on. The super talented 21-year-old. Now Bunchant. Just want to land this on that sort of a third of the way up between the fringe and the pin, but there's a big gaping bunker short of the green on the right, which does encourage players to just carry it a little bit further. Though that is beautifully done from Jaravi. Oh, Park Yoon Kyung at the final hole. Her final hole, excuse me, for rounds of 2 under par 70. This one will want to snap from right to left in the last 2.5, 3 feet. Yeah, but everything's straight if you hit it that hard. So a good finish for Park Yoon Kyung and her day at 2 under par. Oh, an eagle putt for Patty Tavatanakit. My word, I said this was going to be a 3-shot hole for everyone. Silly me, counting out Patty Tavatanakit. Now, this is going to be quick. Can be straight down a little spine. We'll want to move right on her just at the end. Does it move that much from left to right? She's asking herself the same question, but still, you take your little 2-putt birdie. Consolidate a well-played hole. I like to see this played. It just takes the guesswork. Trying to work out how that ball's going to roll through the fringe and fairway out of the equation. It's pretty flat here from Jung Yoon-ji, so you just carry it onto the green. It should trundle along. Keeps things tidy. So good little up and down 3. And keep Jung Yoon-ji at 2 under, just outside the top 10. Now year one for a birdie 4 back at the 5th. Okay, the 21-year-old balances her account for the day with a nice birdie conversion at the par 5. Right edge of the green. At the 6th is Yeomin, putting over just a little ridge, so it should kick the ball to the left as it makes its way up and over that. It's not exactly stone dead for Huang. You do find you're going to leave yourself a lot of putts from that range when you play the Tampines course. Really demanding on your short game. This Phil Jacobs layout. That's a good birdie as well for Park Ji-young. Second on the day. Brave tee shot from Jaravi Bunchant. Still not an easy read this. Should go a little from left to right to start, then might want to come back towards her as it gets to the cup. part of the runaway winning team at the Simone Ladies Asia Pacific Cup at Pondok Indah to end 2023 alongside Ataya Titikun. So a hat-trick of birdies for our featured group at the 5th. Definitely want to take advantage of the easiest hole in the golf course, and these three ladies certainly have done just that. Now up to Kim Jae-hee at the 9th. So important to carry that little plateau in the middle of the green. Try and get it up to this back hole location. Wrong side of it. And that's going to work its way down towards the front edge of the green. Not going to be a straightforward two-putt for Jae-hee. As we gaze back down towards the tee box at 6. It's played as the 6th hardest hole today. I've seen a couple through the back of the green. But with Tavatanakit's high speed and high launching ball flight, should be able to get this to stop relatively quickly. It's just about picking that number, trusting your yardage. And that tee box, it does play about 3-4 yards uphill. I mentioned earlier, there's a big gaping bunker short right of this green, so if you're not precise with your striker, you make poor contact. It's very eager to swallow up a golf ball. Should be no more than a 9-9, maybe even a wedge for Patty. Oh, just throwing darts at it. And that is the difference. A major championship golf game, a well-traveled golf game. Able to play with your trajectories, take advantage of your length. Now, the 7th playing downwind today for Jung Yoon-ji. Trouble on the right, big penalty area there. The bunkers on the left, that's your target. Fairway does kick a little from left to right. It's metronomic, the tempo that Jung Yoon-ji produces when she has a golf club in hand. And uh-oh, see a couple of dark clouds on the horizon. Let's just hope they stay on the horizon, don't inch their way towards the Tanamera Country Club. Little discussion for year one back on 6T. Really, with the breeze today, you'd almost say the shorter clubs to play. You don't really want to be easing up on the longer one coming down breeze to an elevated green. Watch how technically sound this golf swing is. Such good width, good shoulder turn, really good balance at follow through. Ooh, that's going to catch the slope, is it, and feed on into the middle of the green. Sometimes when you do take that shorter club, you just give it that little extra oomph, you de-loft it a little, you shut that club face, and more often than not, your misses go a little left. So I mentioned this wasn't an easy putt for Kim Jae-hee. Really slow coming up the face of that slope. Then it'll switch downgrade downhill as it works its way to the cup. All about the pace, this one. Gave that downgrade section just a little too much respect. So work to be done for an outward half of 35 for Kim. Ji-young. I have to say, she's got an LPGA Tour style of play. She does like to alter the flight of her iron shots. Can trap it low, can launch it high. That needs to just settle. Now it's going to catch the slope as well. Feed on down where Leo One's ball went. Do get some big greens here at the Tampines course, and we best be sure you're in the right section of them, or you could be struggling, much like Park Ju-yong today, who has a chance to get one of her 4 drop shots back. Birdie look here at the 7th. For the 34-year-old, that's more like it. So, bogeys on 4 and 5. She'll pick up a birdie there at 7. Popular Park, thankfully, heading back in the right direction. But still, no one's been able to get close to Bang Shin-sil's clubhouse target. That's 65. Still looking very solid for the KLPGA Tour sophomore. She leads here on day 1 of the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open by 2. It's the second playing of the Singapore Women's Open here on the KLPGA Tour. 9 countries represented, the bulk of which, as you can probably guess, hailing from South Korea. But there's a good international flair at the season opener this week. Tanamera Country Club's Tampines course playing host to the best from the KLPGA Tour and around the world here in Singapore. Patty Tavatanakit, certainly your star draw, your headline player, if you will, coming into the week off the back of victories in Riyadh at the Aramco Ladies Invitational on the Ladies European Tour, and a very popular and emotional win in Thailand at the Honda LPGA Thailand just a fortnight ago for a second LPGA Tour title. Also a solid top 10 finish in Singapore at the HSBC Women's World Championship last week. Looking to pick up a 3rd win in the span of 4 weeks here on the KLPGA Tour. She did come close last season. You recall a brilliant 3-way playoff between Tavatanakit, Minji Lee and Lee Daeon at the Hana Financial Group Women's Open. And concluded at Bears Best in Cheong Na. Terrific playoff won by Lee Daeon. Year 1 slowish putt from the front or the middle of that 5th green. So very nearly an unlikely birdie too, but she'll happily settle for a 2-putt par. So, par putt as well for Lee Jae-yong. Couple holes ahead at the 9th to turn in 35. Okay, nicely holed for Jae-hee. 1 under par to the turn. Did see some rather ominous looking clouds gathering overhead on those beauty shots earlier on. Remember, it was a rain-shortened 36-hole edition of this title that Park Ji-young emerged triumphant about 14 months ago. That one never really had the pace. I recall that was a bizarre week. Supposed to be a 54-hole championship. Park Ji-young was leading by 1 over 4 players going into Sunday and never had to hit a shot on the golf course. Sunday afternoon, play was cancelled and she was declared the champion. Jun Yi-sung up the hill into the par 5 8th, pins on that front left quadrant of the green. Really primed for these players to take dead aim today. Tavatanakit still has to respect this. It wants to move hard right when it gets to the cup, so it's got to be played with pace. And too much pace, though, for Patty. Really skated up to the 8th green to Jun Yi-sung. This for birdie. Falls to her right as it gets to the cup. Okay, falls right in the middle. That's a good 4. Birdie both the par 5s of this outward 9. It's a little yin-yang looking, you'd have to say. Sunny skies on the right. Not so sunny skies on the left half of your screen. Split the middle of the fairway at the 7th for Jung Yun-ji. Pins on that lower right half of the green. There's a little slope just to the left of this pin, which you can use. Just pitched on a downslope there, Yun-ji. So an outside look for a birdie. Yeah, this par 4 7th, really a section of the golf course where players can really start to think about trying to pick up some birdies. 7 playing straight and pretty much downwind, 8 being a short par 5 and 9 being a short par 4 to finish. But you must avoid the right-hand penalty area off the tee here at the 7th. Anything that's slightly pushed, that bank is shaved, it will find trouble. 222 yards, so 200 meters to get to this front bunker on the left, 240 yards to carry it. Right bunker really not going to be in play unless your name's Patty Tavatanakit. General camber, this fairway is from left to right, but the major defense here is going to be that green, which is 30 paces deep. And you can see from Jung Yun-ji's approach, just in that front right section, there's a little downslope where if you land on it, it just shoots on towards the back half of the green. It's a real big hitters golf course, the Tampines layout, so it favors someone who can launch it high in the air, carry some of these fairway bunkers, and really have short irons and wedges into these pins. But you have to find the fairway first. Tavatanakit should be able to cover that left trap with relative ease. Playing your second shot out of the left half of the fairway does make the approach into the green slightly easier. Choi Rim to get herself back to even for her round. Yeah, well done. Birdie there for Choi. Year one, not sure she can cover that left bunker. Averages around 230 meters off the tee, but it's pretty heavy air right now at the Tampines course. She's got to just look a little right. Not too far right, because there is trouble. That's okay. Working on trying to stay deep. Stay in her posture on the way down. Tends to, her bad ones just sort of spin out of them, lose a couple off to the right. There's Park Ji-young. High on the club face perhaps, and that could have very well found that left-hand trap I was talking about earlier. Now up on the green, Jung Yun-ji with this slow putt, labouring uphill for a birdie. So easy to leave that one short. Not many greens tilt from front to back these days. This right-hand side of the 7th, certainly one of those. Hwang Yo-min really hasn't been able to get much going thus far in this opening round. And there's a chance here. Left to right slider for birdie. Nope, never had that high enough. Almost looked like she had that red as straight. These putting greens are flummoxing some of the finest on the KLPGA Tour. The golf's been entertaining. The scoring has been pretty good, you'd have to say, particularly if you're someone called Bang Shin-sil, who turned in a blemish-free opening round of 65 earlier this morning. 7 unanswered birdies for Bang. So, 2 good tee shots and 1 mildly problematic one at the 7th for our feature group, and that's exactly what Park Ji-young can see. Can't even see the target, maybe just the top part of the flag, and it's a big old lip she's got to clear. Playing out of wet sand does make it easier to pick this ball cleanly. Can't advance it far enough to even think about carrying it on the green, so under pressure here to save par as the defending champion. We love what the guys, Adrian Tung, Chief Superintendent, and his team have done with the bunkers at the Tampines course. Driving around yesterday, having a look at the golf course, these new edges of the bunkers really do make them look proper menacing. Now up to 8 and Jung Yoon-ji. Started at the 2 bunkers, sort of straight down the fairway in the distance as your line. Hole that measures right around 460 meters, 519 yards. Struggling to think how most of these players are going to get home in 2. Now hanging live for year 1, ball below her feet. Start this left of the TV tower, just ease it into this pin position. And come off that slope. This is a good smart shot if it just catches that little slope. Okay. Well played. Really plots her way around the golf course. With the maturity beyond her years in the year 1. Creates so many opportunities for herself, and she took a fair few of them over her last 2 seasons as a KLPGA Tour member. Now, Tavatanakit can take a much more direct line at this pin. She's last to play. See that flag just to the right of the TV tower. It's a much flatter lie for the tie. Pitch this in the flat, get it to stop quick. Yeah, just like that. For a player of Tavatanakit's skills, soft, defenseless golf course with not too much breeze. You know, that is a happy hunting ground. Now, one of the amateurs in the field, South Korean Lee Hyo-song, started on the back 9. This her approach into the last. Picked up a birdie at the 13. Did drop a shot at 15. And that's a pretty handy one into the par 5 18th. Year after year, the South Koreans just produce a smattering of uber-talented young amateurs that eventually come out here on the KLPGA Tour or even up to the LPGA Tour to ply their trade in the play-for-pay ranks. Park Ji-young doing all she can to avoid dropping a shot here at 7. That was simply sublime. Som, playoff winner in Incheon last year at Sky 72 for the OK Financial Group OK Man Open. Birdie look here at the 8th, and a birdie converted for Som, who was absolutely trounced in that Rookie of the Year race against Lee Year-won. She finished 2nd on that points list back in 2022, and that was by some stretch as well. Now, Bae So-hyun playing with the amateur. She's 2 under. Off a slight uphill lie, so she'll get good launch and height on this. Gets that to drop like a sack of potatoes. So a couple of good birdie looks to come for Bae and Lee at the 18th. Now, year 1, downhill right to lefter. To get herself into red figures for the championship. Really great effort there. We could just see, I've seen a couple times already through the early stages of play. The ball really does break quite a bit as it loses pace near the cup. So she'll stay at even par. Yeah, Jung Yun Ji, second shot up the hill to the 8th. Green's just on the right edge of those left tree line. That left tree line. Even if you're in the left half of the fairway, those trees don't really come into play. More of a visual and optical illusion. So a chance to turn in 33 for Bae So-hyun. Ooh, just shaves the right edge. 2 birdies on her card, both of them coming at par 3s, the 14th and the 16th for Bae. Just make her way across to start her back 9 at the par 4 first. Now Tavatanakit to try to start clawing her way up the leaderboard. It's a section of the golf course you can score on. And score she will. Let one slip by at the 6th. Doesn't make the same mistake at the 7th. It's a quality birdie from a quality player. See if Lee Hyo-song's learned anything from that putt of her playing partner Bae So-hyun. Ooh, that's a carbon copy miss. Shaves that right edge. So even par 36 to the turn for the teenager. This would be some par for Park Ji-young if she can muster it. Oh, well done indeed. That's what the great champions do. You get out of position. You're not phased by it. You just work out how you can scramble away with no damage done. And that's exactly what Park Ji-young's done at 7. Now, Hwang Yo-min, left half of the fairway at the 8th. Trees shouldn't bother her. They're a good 30 yards short of the green. Just got to hoist them up and over it. Yeah, good shot. Took her time to adjust to professional life. Hwang Yo-min, so much was expected of her when she turned pro back in 2022. Now, Tavatanakit, if she gets a good one away here, maybe might be able to get home in 2. But it's a wide target. You can really open your shoulders up and give this one a good thumping. Averages just over 270 yards off the tee on the LPGA Tour. And that is deep up the fairway at the par 5. He's got about 260 yards to the front edge from there. Second shot playing around 6-7 yards uphill. So we know it's in the go zone for her. But not for year 1, who will hope to employ the strategy that served her well back on the other par 5. Just chop her way up the fairway, stick a wedge close. Doesn't miss many fairways. Leo 1 averaged just over 80% through her 29 events last year. Now rounding out the group, Park Ji-young. That par on the last is going to feel like a birdie for Park. Further up, ideal angle for Jung Yun-ji. Slight uphill lie. But we've seen these greens are pretty soft and receptive today, so can pretty much play this as its full number. The birdies are out there for the taking. Nobody's made more than Bang Shin Sil here on Thursday. She continues to lead the way with that opening round of 65. Yeonjung, Minju, Jaeyoung in the clubhouse with matching 67s to leave them 2 behind Bang. It's a birdie chance for Hwang Yo-min, and she's had a couple. Can she finally take advantage here at 8? Bit awkward because of that slope, that little spine she's putting down. Feels like it wants to shoot the ball right, but it really moves back to the left at the end. I've had a couple of tentative ones already this Thursday. Back down in the fairway. Surely going to be a couple of layups for Park Ji-young and Lee Ye-won here. Tavatanakit doing the math, working out if she can get home in 2. And the problem for Park Ji-young is just being on the left side of the fairway. You've got those railroad ties down the left, which, again, just a little bit of a bother optically. Really shouldn't be in her way. She'll get plenty of loft on this and up and over them, no problem, but it's that tree. It's just sort of directly in front of her, which is a bit of an issue. She'll have to start it right of that, try and sling a draw around it, and get this one to sort of turn up the fairway with the way that this hole is shaped. Still got to have your wits about you for this layup. Now, year one. No tree trouble for her. Down the right side of the fairway, clear view at what she has to do. So is Tavatanakit going for it? That is the question. Up on the green, Jung-Yun-Ji made a really nice putt from about this range back at 5. Oh, that looked like a good smooth stroke. Oh, you are kidding me. How's that stop? That's one dimple shy of dropping in. You got 10 seconds to wait for that ball to drop. Obviously, you can't take an unreasonable amount of time to get to it, but that's a little unfortunate for Jung-Yun-Ji. Now at 9, Park Ju-young. She's starting to just salvage the situation after a nightmare start. This for a birdie after a fine approach. Okay. So, despite being 4 over par through her first 5, she'll turn in 38. Well, green is clear. Tavatanakit has got the 3-wood. Even if he's just 10 yards short of the green, that's a good leave here. You don't want to go over the back. That leaves you a tough 2-putt. Ooh, lost that well right. Okay, comes straight down. That's a good break for Tavatanakit. And with today's hole location, she's got room to work with there. One of those new tailor-made 3-woods she's put in her bag. Certainly gives her a little bit more distance and forgiveness, which is what everyone's chasing in the manufacturing game these days. Now a lengthy third shot into the 10th for Jun-Yi Sung. Trouble all the way down the left-hand side of this par 5. The target safely found for Jun. You've got bunkers down the right of this hole. There's a sort of irritating little one. That's about 230 yards off the tee. A little pot bunker in the middle of the fairway. That has to be avoided. Park Ju-young. Right around that 100-yard mark, 110-yard mark to the front edge. Pins on about 9 paces. And off that slide up slope, just got to be careful of getting stuck on your right side and flipping this one left. You don't want to feel like you drive this into the slope. Yes. Left the club face open a smidge. Year one really only has about 60 yards left to the pin. Sort of a similar distance to what she had back at 5, and she'd love for a replication of that result. Also with a slight uphill slope to contend with, though doesn't appear to be as severe as Park Ji-young's. It's a friendly pin on this green today, so players will certainly look to take advantage. 6 out of 10, that one for year one. Really would have expected that at least a couple feet closer. Much depends on the lie for Tavatanakit. On the right-hand side of this green, she's going to be below the surface. The island nation of Singapore, home to 5.6 million people, just at 1 degree north of the equator, and home to us this week on the KLPGA Tour. Hung Shin Sil's lead looks pretty solid right now. She sits atop the board at 7 under par. Much depends on this lie for Patty Tavatanakit at 8, well below the surface of the green, coming out of this rough. But it looks like it's sitting up okay, and the good news, she doesn't have to worry about this checking up too quickly on her unless she gets it off the top of the club face. So we'll be able to play for some release. Get some grass between club face and ball. On this angle, ample amount of green to work with, but still has to send this out to the right. Try and use that slope to feed it on to the pin. Sublime touch from the type. 24 years of age. Graduate of UCLA. Yunji, after that fine tee shot in tonight, will look to carry the little swale You've got a bit of a backboard, so going deep on the 9th, not too bad. You get a little help from the slope. Good amount of right to left in this birdie opportunity for Park Ji-young. Still, it's been solid going from Ji-young so far. Yeah, just the one drop shot coming back at the 3rd for her. Yeah, Jae-hee up at the par 4 11th. Lovely approach to leave her about 8 feet for birdie. This one working from right to left. Okay, well hold for Kim Jae-hee. So she gets to 2 under par. Question is, will she be able to complete her opening round? She's off in the first group in this afternoon session. Now, the 1 for her birdie. Now, just enough speed on that. Very nicely holed from year 1. Into red figures for the first and definitely not the last time in 2024. Yeah, it was a brave 3rd shot from Jun Yi-sung to be left at this pin on 10. She's left herself an uphill putt now. Can't convert. Still 10, just one of those par 5s, which is just fraught with danger all the way down both sides of this hole. So normally players looking to pick up shots on par 5s, they'd be pretty happy with 4 5s at the 10th this week, I can guarantee you. Now, for back-to-back birdies. Still wants to slide a little right. It's got to be hit with conviction. Inside left edge. Now, power is such a huge advantage in the modern game. No better example of that right now than Patty Tavatanakit getting to 3 under through 8, and the longest hit on the KLPGA Tour, Bang Shin-sil, leading the way on 7 under par. As the race to get as many holes as we can in is very much on here on day 1 of the weather-interrupted Singapore Women's Open. Yoonji just sizing this one up from the back edge of the 9th green. She is pretty much right on the top of that little knuckle on the back side of the green, so we'll be quick off the putter face, working downhill, then just starts to work uphill slightly as it gets to the cup. Should move from left to right. See that a lot from players putting at the back of 9. You see the downhill bit, you just forget that it starts to go uphill as it gets to the cup. Big stick out for Patty. Back on the tee box, so that little round bunker in the middle of the fairway shouldn't trouble her. The long greenside trap down the left might. Pretty wide landing zone if you've got her power. Oh yes. That just means she's only going to have about 50 odd yards to the pin. Certainly can overpower golf courses, this 24-year-old from Bangkok. Great contrast between the two styles of Tavatanakit and year 1. The tactician, the plodder in year 1. It can be a lot further back, but she'll have a nice full yardage, and be operating off a fairly flat lie. It's coughed up 13 birdies today, this 9th hole. Keeping an anxious eye on this one, Park Ji-young. Yeah, straight over the mouth of that little pot bunker, no problems, but looks like she's on a slight downslope, which is going to flatten out the trajectory just a little bit. Not what you need when you're trying to get it up to a back rise. Now across to 10, and an outside opportunity for Ma Da Som to find a birdie at this par 5. That is not going to make the Ma family highlight reel anytime soon. A very poor putt from Da Som, and work to be done to avoid slipping back to even par, and that would put her in a share of 42nd right now. So 41 players in red figures already out of a field of 108 at the demanding Tampines course. Now to the 11th, and second shot for Jun Yi-sung plays downhill about 3 yards. So, year one, as she has been for most of this opening round, is going to be first to play. She's just about in line with that little fairway pot bunker, so that should leave her around 90 yards to the front edge. Should be about a 110-yard shot. And that really is a sort of stock gap wedge for year one. Yeah, not the longest hitter on tour, but with a full shot coming in with lots of spin, you definitely need to carry this at least 106 to make sure you clear that little slope. It's like playing video game golf sometimes with her. You give her a number and she executes. Pin high once more for year one. It's a very big green here at the 11th. And there's a couple of humps and hollows as well. It's 46 paces deep. That pin to date, 34 on. Saw it from the other camera angle. It's a slight downhill line. This is becoming a little bit lower. I'm trying to get a little bit more grab on these as well. So like year one, she just has to fly it onto the top level. A little bit long is okay. You can use that slope. Just sticks up on the back fringe for Park Ji-young. A little unlucky with the tee shot, you have to say. Tavatanakit pretty much throw it on the green from where she's driven this. The only awkward thing is sometimes when you've got these less than full shots with the wedge, it's really a feel sort of number for Patty. She's becoming with a little bit less spin. Trying to fire this into the slope and chase it over. That was a crafty little shot from Tavatanakit. Maybe just a little poor with the contact, but not bad. It's a good, clever shot that from the tie. Yeah, could look at what the players face here at the 10th. You got out of bounds right, trouble left. Just a fairway finding hybrid required for Jung Yun Ji. She starts her back 9 with those dark clouds starting to just eke ever closer to this Tampines course. It's the tournament committee and the on-site meteorologist going to be keeping a close eye on that. You can play through rain as long as there's no lightning overhead. The players are safe. Play will continue. Now Bunchan one over par after a couple of drop shots for Jaravi at 4 and 5. Hasn't made a birdie since the first. Unfortunately for Hwang Yo-min, did bogey the 9th, so she's now back at 2 over par. Get no advantage hitting driver here. The landing area really does pinch in. So you're going to see a lot of 3-woods and hybrids from the players this week, just trying to keep it down the straight and narrow. And oh dear, as she overcooked that. Could very well be in the penalty area. And that would be more problems for Hwang Yo-min. Birdie look at the 11th. The 12th, I believe this is, for Jun Yi-sung. To left to right in this one. Now, just want to get this with enough pace to clear that fringe. Slope will do the rest of the work. Okay. Good touch there from Park Ji-young. Jae-hee for the birdie after that fine approach. And yeah, well done. Good conversion there. Back-to-back birdies for Kim. Going to move her to 3 under par, making good progress in this afternoon wave. She and Tavatanakit got the low rounds of this late session Thursday. Paddy looking to improve here, but not an easy putt. We know how much this turns and how much it slows up as it gets to the hole. She'll be bitterly disappointed. Only had a little flick wedge in, but a tidy bogey-free front 9 for Patty. Stays inside the top 10. Now year 1. Bit of a double breaker this. We'll want to go right to left for most of the way and then just maybe fall back a little right as it gets to the hole. Certainly more from right than anything else. Just never hit it, did she? So, pars all round for the featured group. They hit the turn. Ji-young and Yeon at 1 under. Tavatanakit at 3. It wouldn't take a very brave soul to bet that Bang Shin-sil wouldn't be at the top of the leaderboard at day's end today. That's 7 under par. Some sublime going from Shin-sil this morning. Well, we're not going to be able to finish everyone off here on day one at the Singapore Women's Open due to that unfortunate inclement weather suspension we had right around 2 o'clock local time. So the name of the game for these ladies, try and get as many holes in before darkness, or fingers crossed, God's forbid, another interruption, because that sky is looking a little ominous. So Tavatanakit starts the back 9 at 3 under par. Tee shot at 10 downwind, but just got to hit a chippy one, try and find the short stuff. That's a 5 wood, carries a 5 and a 3 wood in her bag. I guarantee you there'll be quite a few members at the Tanah Country Club who'd love to hit a chippy 5 wood that far. Certainly makes the layup a whole lot easier for the headline act at this week's Singapore Women's Open. Tavatanakit living up to that pre-tournament billing so far. She's 4 back of Shin Sil halfway through this opening round. Again, full credit to her playing partners Lee Won and particularly this lady, Park Ji-young. Park coming off a stellar 2023 season, which saw her claim 3 titles, this one included, en route to a record year, 989 million won banked for the 26-year-old. That's definitely on the side of caution up the right, but there's a big old curb there which is going to keep that ball from trundling into the penalty area, that little penalty area down the right-hand side. That's going to get a little help from the cart path, and, well, she'll obviously be able to take relief from there. Year one. She's hit a couple of sort of smoothie drivers today, fairway finder drivers. I wouldn't be surprised if she opted to do it here at the 10th. But again, on a hole where you're thinking, right, I have to play this as a 3-shotter. Yeah, that is the sensible play. Just get the 3 wood out. There's no advantage in trying to poke this tee ball down any further than it needs to go. So many amateurs just hit drive on a par 5 because, well, it's a long hole. I want to get it as far as I can down there. It's not really the right play if it doesn't give you a significant advantage. She spun out of that a little. She's looking concerned. That's heading a touch right. No, I'll get a friendly kick and settle into the first cut of rough. 2023 Player of the Year, the defending champion, and Patty Tavatanakit, the highest ranked player in the field in the Rolex Women's World Rankings, start their march onto the back 9 here at the Tampines course. Now Jae-hee wide left of the fairway at the par 4 13th, her second shot out of the thick stuff. Oh, from the thick stuff to about 2 feet away. Brilliant shot from Kim Jae-hee, who's really hit the afterburner since making the turn. A couple of nice birdies at 11 and 12. A little bit further up the 10th, we find Jung Yoon-ji. Slightly above her feet, so she can start this at the TV tower. Just let it sort of turn over. Don't need to fight the slope to that left hole location. Pretty good shot from there. Never easy with the ball sitting above your feet and trouble left. Bunchan, much flatter lie for the tie. Right next to that star marking in the fairway, which is 125 yards to the front edge. Pins on 14, so right around 140 yards left for Jaravi. Starting on a slightly more aggressive line. And a much better golf shot for Bunchant. Top 30 finish last outing out the KLPGA Tour at Bears Best in Cheongna towards the tail end of 2023. Now Jun Yi-sung playing down the hill to the 12th. Pins on 8 paces today. And that's going to get a little help from the big slope in the front third of this green. Good shot there from Jun Yi-sung. Okay, relief from the cart path taken for Park Ji-young, but this is where things can get a little bit awkward on the 10. She is coming out of the rough, and that ball is going to be significantly below the level of her feet, which normally promotes a left to right ball flight. But with the way this hole is shaped, it cambers around that penalty area. You can see the green in the distance there. Cambers around from right to left. Really, you'd have to start this almost at the edge of the penalty area and just trust that that ball below feet lie, that hanging lie, is going to sling this ball out to the right. While she deciphers that, we go up to the green, and Hwang Yo-min desperately trying to find something here. Will it come with a birdie at the 10th? She's been a little tentative with the putter throughout her round so far, and unfortunately just unable to get the pace of these greens. Birdieless in her exploits this Thursday afternoon. She want to look sort of towards the green side bunkers as a start line, because if you go a little bit too far right, you venture into the rough and you get some pretty hanging lies there too. Yeah, good shot there, just a little abbreviated follow through. Back in good position up the fairway is Park. Yoonji up ahead on the green. This one should move from her left. Yeah, good pace, good effort from Yoonji. That's really what you want to see. Has a tendency to just get a little tentative with the putter when things aren't going her way. Year one. The first cutter rough, that ball sitting nicely, almost like it's on a tee peg. Got a little steep on that, but she'll get away with it. Tavatanakit got a driving iron out, looking to start this at that fairway bunker and just turn a hard trap draw down the shape of this fairway. Just left that a little right. Not quite sure where that second shot's ended up for Patty Tavatanakit, but I can promise you it's dry. To her friend and countrywoman up ahead on the green, Jaravi Bunchant, to try to get herself back to even par. Oh, just losing steam and peeling off low for Jaravi. It's a real shame. Was a sublime approach into this green and no progress to be made for the type. That was a stunning second shot into 13 from Kim Jae-hee. This little tiddler was to get her up into a share of 5th. She doesn't want this back 9 to end. It's been a very solid start to the inward half for Kim. You see that trouble that just flanks the port side of this par 5. So that breeze is just out and a quarter a little. It's sort of coming straight off the left for Park Ji-young. Looks like she's taking dead aim here, trying to hold a little draw against that left to right wind. Year 1. Got away with a bit of a squirrely second shot. Should be no more than an 8 iron in here for Lee. Just got to err on the side of caution. Leave it a little right. It's just looking a little steep on the way down over the last couple of swings up this par 5 for year 1. Patty, who were fooled by the fairway cameramen there. She's in prime position here. From this spot, opens up the angle to this pin. Oh, straight over the top of it. Just a little long, but a decent opportunity awaits for Tavatanakit to join Jae-hee Kim, at 4 under par. Pair of them certainly taking advantage of some softer conditions this Thursday afternoon to try and make inroads to that Bang Shin-sil lead, which currently sits at 7 under par, 2 clear of So, Kim, and Lee Jae-young. So year one, just shy of the green in 3 at the 10th. There's a big old shoulder that comes off that front right bunker, which can be a bit of a problem if she wants to play a sort of pitch and run type shot. And she could elect to try and throw it a little bit deeper, a little closer to the hole, and eliminate that. It's coming out the first cut of rough, so this should be sitting quite nicely. Yeah, pretty good, but that's the top side of the hole, so she'll be putting downhill, and we saw from Bunchan's putt a little bit earlier on that will want to move from right to left. Players get a little shuttle ride across the bridge up to the 11th. Have a look at the driving stat of Jung Yoon-ji, just over 240 yards off the tee. Does find 76% of her fairways. This fairway at 11 does tilt from left to right towards that fairway bunker. There's that big kick. But she'll be operating out of the short grass for her second shot. Tavatanakit downhill, wants to move left to right, then back to her left. Looks like she's read it pretty well. Just a little unlucky there. You have to think, with the way that this golf course sets up for her, she should be there or thereabouts come Sunday afternoon. Being in Singapore, weather permitting, of course. She's been red hot since she hit the turn. Three birdies in a row to get her up to 4 under par. Kim Jae-hee. This is the par 3 14th. And she's given herself a look at a 4th birdie in a row that would take her into a share of second place with Lee Jae-yong, Kim Min-joo and So-yeon Jung, who are all done and dusted for the day. This one will want to move from right to left. Really looking about a ball, maybe a ball and a half outside right edge. And she is on a heater right now, Kim Jae-hee. That's 4 in a row. Could she be the one to perhaps bother Bang Shin-sil at the top of the leaderboard? She's got 4 to play. Back at 10, Park Ji-young. This for a 4. Gotta hit it, Ji-young. Just lost that on the low side. Year one. It's a fiddly one, this. Just gotta keep your concentration. Start this outside right edge. Easy to let this one slide by low if you're not fully committed. Oh, power at that through the break. I think she started that more than right edge. It just shows you this 10th hole. 1 or 2 sloppy swings, little lapse in concentration. It could certainly cost you a shot. It did Lee Ye-won. Now Paddy for par. Okay, safely in. It's been a welcome return to the top of the Rolex rankings for Tavatanakit, who shot to prominence back in 2021. LPGA Tour Rookie of the Year, major champion, then had her struggles with her game over the seasons, and it's good to see her winning once more. As we look back on some of the highlights of this opening round at the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open, why not start with the lady that lifted the trophy last time out. Park Ji-young getting her title defense off to a great start. A solid par at the first, and then that, a birdie at the demanding par 4 second hole. Really, nobody was hotter on day one than Bang Shin-sil. 6 birdies in her round to this point, going off in the morning wave off the 10th tee. This her final hole of the day, and just as the hooter went, beat it to the line. A birdie 3 to close. A sublime round of 65 that sees Bang Shin-sil end her day at 7 under par. That's when play was halted for right around 90 minutes due to inclement weather, when we did eventually get back out on the golf course at 4 p.m. local time. Park Hyun-kyung started to chip away at the rust of the off-season. A pitch-in birdie at the par 5/8, taking her to 1 under par. And then this was something special. Tavatanakit 3-wood off the tee at the 5th. Realistically, the only player who could get home in 2 in the entire field on this par 5. The group ahead was still there. She didn't realize it. It pitched on the downslope about 20 yards short of the green and would settle up there, giving her an eagle opportunity, much to the surprise of Hwang Yo-min and company ahead. When she did eventually get up there, it wasn't an easy putt to hole, working down a ridge all the way, asking for that to come back right. It did. She would settle for a 2-putt birdie to open her account for the championship. And then at the 7th, another booming tee shot, another pure swing from Tavatanakit, taking advantage of that power game and setting up another birdie opportunity. Missed one from around this range at the par 3/6, but she wouldn't make it 2 for 2. That got her up to 2 under. And as we go off air, I should say, here on day 1, Bang Shin-sil leads at 7 under par, but Kim Jae-hee 4 birdies in a row with 4 holes left to play. Could she find herself at the top of the leaderboard as we go into day 2 action Friday? Fingers crossed we get as many players completed as possible today. Fingers crossed the weather cooperates for the rest of the week. But until tomorrow, this is Timothy Lowe saying have a lovely Thursday evening, and join us again on Friday for more action from the Hana Financial Group Singapore Women's Open. Bye-bye for now.